Ben Simmons was supposed to be the next LeBron James. Why did we think this? And can he still contribute now? Welcome back to Court Vision. This episode provides some perspective on the timeline of Ben Simmons, as well as a breakdown of his skill set, which made him who he is today. First, let's look at his playmaking ability. Ben Simmons has made it a staple in his career to be one of the best playmakers on the court at all times. And here you see his teammate cut backdoor in transition, and you see how much space he has ahead of the defender here, which allows that passing lane for Ben Simmons to make this pass. And just knowing that his teammate is following behind him is just a high IQ play. Also to note, Ben Simmons creates a lot of his plays by going downhill and drawing the defense like this one. Once again, Ben Simmons is playing around with the defense by looking them off, and people expected a jump hook, a running jump hook from Ben Simmons because that is his go-to move at the basket. And Draymond Green is just caught standing around underneath the basket because he thinks the shot's going up. But you can't really blame him, right? Because if that's his go-to shot, you expect to be able to box out and go for a rebound. Instead, Jimmy Butler continues with the play again, and Ben Simmons drops the ball off to him, and Draymond cannot recover in time. Again, Jimmy Butler being an offensive threat, you would think you would follow him, but Draymond, assuming the jump hook is coming, did not go for it. So, high IQ play, once again, this wraps up the playmaking segment, but once again, Ben Simmons looking off the defense, playing in transition, looking off the defense to make plays for his teammates. Remember to rate and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, as this helps us the most. And check out our description and bio, including our link tree to all socials. Feel free to interact with us on X, TikTok, and Instagram. And you won't want to miss out on this week's Move of the Week, featuring Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's Skyhook. Let's talk about Ben Simmons' defense here, because his ability to read and react as a defender is unmatched, and that is the other part of his game that he is known for. So let's get into it. We got to see Ben Simmons in transition, but it's really set up by his defense. Here we see it in help side, and he almost forces the ball out of his hands in a trap situation and then gets out into transition off of this deflection and steal. This happens more oftentimes than not and continues to prove his defensive value. Here we see Ben Simmons in full denial of Pascal Siakam, who is arguably probably the best scorer and most consistent scorer on the Pacers squad in this past season. And using his 7-foot frame and long wingspan, being in full denial, he got the deflection and got out in transition. Again, another high IQ play to not even let him touch the ball. Ben Simmons is one of the most dominant players in transition and getting downhill. We saw how he did it to get assists, but we also see how he can get buckets in transition as well. He is by far one of the best downhill players in the league when he's healthy, of course. But how do you stop a 7-footer that moves so fast down the court? Here's the elephant in the room: scoring. Simmons' biggest weakness in his refusal to shoot jumpers, defenses sag off, clogging the driving lanes. On film, you'll see defenders camping in the paint, daring him to shoot. But here's where I think the script is all wrong. Yes, they sag off, but he's effective in transition, he scores off cuts, and he's dangerous as a roll man. But as a half-court creator, some think his lack of shooting caps his ceiling. I agree in a sense, because I think he could be the next LeBron James and could have been the next LeBron James. I think he's just settling to be his floor, which is the next Draymond. There's definitely a place for him in the league, and definitely is capping his ceiling, but is a great player overall. From being billed as the next LeBron James at LSU, to making 3 straight All-Star appearances, to sitting out seasons with injuries and struggles. We all thought that Ben Simmons could be the next LeBron James. He plays in transition, and he loves to be a good playmaker and is one of the best playmakers on the court, playing downhill, but he struggled to form a jump shot. This decided to be his demise, and defenses just sagging off of him like we saw earlier. He does make benefits out of the situation. Because he plays downhill, he still draws attention with his 7-foot frame. But at LSU, he averaged 19.2 points, 11.8 rebounds, 4.8 assists, and 2 steals per game, and he shot 56% from the field. And now, he attempted 3 threes all that season, and we thought there was going to be potential for him to eventually evolve that part of his game. We did not get a chance to see it, which is fine, but point forward playmaking is his thing. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like he's not a productive player because he is when on the court. Of course, we talked about his injury struggles. And do we really think he's going to bounce back from that? I think he can. In his time with the Clippers this past season, he proved as a role player off the bench he could still provide value for a team. We will see if he gets signed this offseason, as his agent just dropped him due to a contract dispute and rejection from Ben Simmons. But moving on, we will see him more or less like a Draymond. And we've been seeing him play like Draymond Green. Except that's his floor. He still has the playmaking, the transition, the defense, the length and size to play 1 through 5 defensively. Now, he could have been better in forming a jump shot like Draymond Green did over his career. And I feel like the effort that Draymond put in is not the effort we've seen with Ben Simmons. Just like Kobe thought Shaq would be the best player if he put more time and effort in. Didn't happen, right? So we have to settle with what we got. Obviously, Shaq settling still led to championships, and Ben Simmons led to injuries and other struggles. From Ben Simmons showing flashes in Summer League, to him winning in Philadelphia, to even his time with the Brooklyn Nets, with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden, and now even the Clippers, and so on and so forth, whoever he decides to join this offseason, he will still provide value. It's just a shame that things did not pan out the way they should have. That'll do it for this week's episode of Court Vision, a Life in the Stands production. Who should we break down next? Which should be the next move of the week? Drop a comment, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more. And remember, film never lies.